Hi, I'm Brian Thomas, and today I'll be helping Josh out with his project. So I've been to a couple aquariums in my lifetime, all over the country, and most recently we went to the Chicago aquarium right in downtown. I'm gonna talk about my experience there. So we went there, and it was kind of an aquarium experience that I had never, seen before. It was more set up as a museum, with the large arches, the very grandiose entryway, almost like an exhibit was going to occur rather than you're going to go look at a couple tanks full of fish. So we walk in, you enter the aquarium, and it's a wheel formation of how they have it set up, with a central unit in the middle and then spokes. Kind of how the Disneyland set up, with the spokes across with different exhibits. So we work our way around the spokes, and every single exhibit is almost like every other aquarium. You've got your tropical fish, salt water, the ones that kids really like, where you've got Dory and Nemo in them, the typical aquarium experience. Then we start making our way around, and there's the normal Amazon one where they get more into the river fish and stuff that lives in more of a jungle habitat, which is really cool to see stuff that's not really in the ocean, but more in a river environment. And this aquarium did a really good job of not just showing the fish, like here's a fish. It had the fish labeled like a real aquarium, but it gave a lot of facts and knowledge base to what the fish was about. So, world's largest fish ever recorded, or where they live, if they're, going extinct. It really helped you gain more knowledge of the fish rather than, hey, that's a big fish, small fish, red fish, blue fish. You learned a lot while you were going through. Again, more like a museum setup where you were doing a lot of knowledge transfer. So again, we're making our way around the spokes of it, and my most interesting exhibit was actually, we were in Chicago, which is attached to the Lake Michigan. The aquarium was actually located right on Lake Michigan, and they had an entire exhibit dedicated to the Great Lakes. Well, that's something I hadn't seen, whether it was in California, Arizona, East Coast, West Coast. This was the only one where you were right there at the Great Lakes. You could look out the windows and see the Great Lakes, and they had an entire exhibit about what's out there. And that was most shocking for me, because I assumed, some, trout, bass, the same fish that is in every lake, that's what's going to be in the Great Lake. That's totally not the case. There was a plethora of species in this, in the Great Lakes, and small to large to, they have different kinds of turtles, all different types of things. So that was like my biggest takeaway from that aquarium was, wow, that's really cool that they put us right here. We can look out the window, see it, just like you were on the ocean, but we were on a Great Lake, and we can see all these fish and different facts about them that are living right outside, with us. So that was my greatest takeaway, and that really made Chicago's aquarium stand out in my mind. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bianca, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience at the aquarium at the Shed Aquarium in downtown Chicago. For the most part, when you walk in, it's very, very standard. It looks like a museum, but it's beautiful. It's got these spires, and it looks almost like an art museum. But when you walk in, you can definitely see that they're very focused on fish. So when you walk in, they have a ton of different areas where you can look at fish, kind of like your standard aquarium, but subsectioned into different areas of the world. And the one thing that I noticed was that all of the exhibits were pretty small, close together but small. So there were a ton of different fish that you could see swimming throughout each of the little tanks as you walked around. And for the most part, it was really, really easy to be able to just look at the fish and go. But you can see that some of them are definitely in smaller enclosures. And so as you walk through the aquarium, you can see dolphins and touch pools and all of that. And for me, the weirdest exhibit was probably the dolphins, because I always feel like dolphins need a huge area of water to swim and to sort of live. But these dolphins were in this really, really big tank with absolutely nothing there. and it was a really deep pool, but they were just kind of swimming around and like, you know, going around in circles, and I kind of felt bad because like you're there all day and they're there forever, and so you feel like they have nothing to do and they're not necessarily stimulated as much as they would be out in the environment. But it seems like this aquarium in particular focuses a lot on animal conservation and ensuring that a lot of people are well educated about understanding how to protect the environment, protect the actual plants and animals that are found wild in nature. And I think that's the one thing I should commend this aquarium on in particular, is that they really focus on educating their visitors about what to do and what not to do, and how the world is changing with everything that's going on, and how some of the ecosystems that are, you know, around are changing. And so they talk about how conservation, especially with like marine life, plants and animals, are important. And so with each exhibit you've got like different posters and things about how each of these environments get impacted by, say, like humans or pollution or climate change or whatever. So I don't know, I thought overall my experience was pretty good, and I'd say that the main thing that I really did appreciate about this aquarium is that it did focus on all of those educational aspects. Yes, it is an aquarium and you do kind of feel bad for seeing fish swim around in a box all day, but I think that they encourage the proper care of their animals, and all of their animals seemed very happy and healthy, and so overall I'd say that my experience was a pretty good one.
Undercover footage from Animal Justice, shot at the Papineau Zoo outside Ottawa, reveals a shocking number of deaths and injuries. Baby animals torn from their mothers to be used as money-making machines. And animal cruelty.
That's crazy.
Papineau is one of Ontario's countless roadside zoos where naturally wild animals suffer a lifetime in small enclosures for the purpose of entertainment. The stress of captivity causes a shocking number of the animals here to engage in repetitive, stereotypic behavior, indicative of severe psychological distress. The sheds where most of the animals are trapped for the winter are even more disturbing. Zoo proponents argue that zoos are about wildlife conservation, yet at Papineau Zoo, helpless babies are snatched and separated from their mothers forever, so they can be tamed for money-making photo ops.
Normally you only take them whenever, like, the mom won't feed them or blah, 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 but that'll just be what I have to tell people now.
Riggs was born here. I tell everyone he wasn't, but people don't like to hear that you pull babies.
This wallaby is destined to have her baby stolen from her pouch as soon as the owners decide he's old enough.
Fuck, that was sure to be bigger than that.
The zoo owner's son describes his method of taming baby animals like this little lion Ty.
He was on a leash, and I just fucking smacked him across the face like 5 times as hard as I could.
Another money grab for Papineau and other zoos is hiring out its animals for video and photo shoots, where the frightened animals are teased and forced to hold the right positions.
Yeah, that's great.
In an effort to make these tame animals look vicious for this photo shoot for CMT's reality show Billy Goes North, they even have their jaws held open with string. There is no formal oversight in Canada by animal welfare authorities when animals are forced into use in the film industry.
So when I got to them, I mean, they were cold to the touch, sitting in cold water in a bathtub. And I had to grab it and like be doing this shit, like, whoa, he's strong.
Animals regularly escape from their cages at the zoo. Tragically, the owners killed a lion named Zeus after their mistake led to his escape in February of 2016.
The easiest decision was just to shoot it, so that's what we did. The fucking cat was worth like 25 grand.
Père David's deer are now extinct in the wild. 3 of them died at Papineau by breaking their necks.
So they chase and they run in the fence and break their neck. And they're rare.
He's always in the shed hiding from them. Because they don't let him eat or fucking drink really, so he'll probably just die if he stays in there from stress.
Please boycott zoos and shows that use animals for entertainment. Join us in calling on the government to crack down on these abusive industries.